Hello and a very warm welcome. This discussion has been put together with the brilliant experts over at My Tax Accountant, one of the UK's top accounting firms. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, slightly intimidating tools in HMRC's arsenal. Think of it as a digital detective that literally never sleeps.
So let's just jump right in with a question that might hit close to home. Could that amazing photo you posted from your holiday in Dubai, or that celebratory snap with your brand new car, actually be the thing that triggers a tax audit? Well, as we head towards 2026, the answer might just shock you.
Because the answer to that question is, increasingly, a resounding yes. So over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly how HMRC is using some incredibly sophisticated technology to watch, to analyze, and to flag up things that don't quite look right. This really is a whole new world of tax compliance.
So here's the plan. First, we'll get properly introduced to HMRC's digital detective. Then we'll dig into the massive problem it's designed to solve, a multi-billion-pound headache for the government. We'll go deep inside their Connect system, and then we'll look at the really juicy part, how AI is now scanning your social media. After that, we'll touch on the important debate between privacy and compliance. And to finish, we'll give you a super practical checklist for staying off their radar. Okay, let's get started. We are well and truly in a new era of tax compliance. This isn't your granddad's tax office anymore. We're talking about a world where traditional audits are being supercharged by a powerful, data-crunching digital detective that's on the job 24/7.
But you might be wondering, why go to all this trouble? Why the need for all this high-tech surveillance? Well, it all boils down to one absolutely enormous number. A problem so big, it's right at the top of the government's to-do list. And there it is. For the 2025-26 tax year, the UK's tax gap is forecast to be around £47 billion. Now that's just a staggering amount of money. It's the difference between the tax that should be collected and what actually lands in the government's coffers. And this isn't some abstract figure. That's money that should be funding our public services, our schools, the NHS, our roads. So you can see why closing this gap is a massive, massive priority.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. You might think that gap is all down to deliberate criminals and organized tax evasion. But look at this. A huge slice of it comes from what HMRC calls a failure to take reasonable care, and just simple, honest mistakes. And that's exactly why their systems cast such a wide net. They're not just looking for hardened criminals, they're also flagging inconsistencies that could come from, say, a small business owner in London who just forgot to declare the income from their side hustle. It's a catch-all approach.
So how on earth does HMRC even begin to tackle this £47 billion problem? Well, say hello to their primary weapon in this fight, the Connect system. You can think of it as a super database that's designed to know, well, pretty much everything about your financial life.
It was launched over a decade ago, but it's been getting smarter and more powerful every single year. At its core, Connect is a highly sophisticated data analytics platform. Its one and only job is to hoover up vast, and I really mean vast, amounts of information from all sorts of places, and then compare it all with what you've put on your tax return to find things that, well, things that just don't add up.
To give you a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about, the Connect system currently holds over 55 billion individual pieces of data about UK taxpayers. Just let that number sink in. It's almost impossible to imagine. But that's not all. How they join the dots is where it gets really clever.
And this slide really shows you the scope of it all. Connect pulls data from absolutely everywhere. Your bank and savings accounts, both here and overseas, the land registry, your credit and debit card payments, the DVLA, and even online marketplaces like eBay and Airbnb. It pieces this all together to build a detailed financial picture of your life. So if you sell a house, it knows. If you're making a tidy sum on the side, chances are it knows that too.
Okay, now for the part that's a real game changer. Recently, the Connect system was given a massive upgrade, artificial intelligence. And what's its new target? Your social media. Now stay with me, because this next point is absolutely crucial for anyone who runs a side hustle or is self-employed.
As accountant Rachel Harris recently pointed out, HMRC is now using AI to actively scan public profiles on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And it's on the hunt for one thing in particular, something they call lifestyle inconsistencies.
So what on earth does that actually mean in the real world? Well, this slide gives you a perfect example. On the left, you've got a self-employed person who's declared an annual income of £35,000. Seems reasonable. But on the right, their public social media profile tells a very different story.
We're talking a brand new BMW, a 5-star trip to Dubai, a growing collection of designer watches. The AI's job is to spot this massive gap between the declared income and the apparent lifestyle. This is the kind of thing that shoots up a huge red flag and can trigger a much deeper investigation.
And here's a quick pro tip for you. It's really important to know that HMRC's AI is looking for patterns. It's not going to flag you for a single photo standing next to your mate's fancy car. But a consistent, sustained pattern of high-end spending, luxury holidays, and expensive purchases that just doesn't line up with your declared income over time, that is exactly what the algorithm is trained to sniff out.
Now, of course, this whole thing opens up a huge and very important debate. Where exactly do we draw the line between effective tax collection and what some might see as an intrusive level of state surveillance?
On one side, you have privacy advocates like the civil liberties group Big Brother Watch. They argue that this kind of tech represents a frightening expansion of state monitoring, and they raise some really valid points about fairness, the risk of false positives where innocent people get flagged by mistake, and the potential for this technology to be overused without the right checks and balances.
But on the other side of the coin, HMRC has been quick to offer reassurance. Their official line is that AI is just a tool to support their staff. It doesn't replace human judgment. They also stress that using it to monitor social media is restricted to serious criminal investigations and is always subject to proper legal oversight. The final decision to open an investigation, they say, always rests with a person, not a machine.
And here's a quick but crucial bit of context for you. This whole debate is happening in the shadow of the Post Office Horizon IT scandal, where we saw the devastating consequences of faulty computer evidence. That memory has made a lot of people, including MPs, deeply skeptical about relying too heavily on automated systems. It really makes you ask, what happens if the algorithm gets it wrong?
So, with all of that in mind, let's switch gears from the problem to the solution. How do you make sure you stay compliant and avoid triggering an unnecessary and, let's face it, incredibly stressful investigation?
Here is your essential 5-step checklist. Number 1. Keep flawless records of every penny you earn and spend. Number 2. Declare all of your income streams, no matter how small they seem. That freelance gig, the rental income, your online sales, all of it. 3. Make sure you really understand what you can claim as an allowable expense and don't push your luck. 4. It's probably a very good idea to review your social media privacy settings. And number 5, and this is the most important one, if you have any doubt about anything at all, get professional advice.
When you boil it all down, the message is crystal clear. The game has well and truly changed. HMRC has more data, more powerful tools, and more reach than at any point in history. In this new digital age, your very best defense is simple. Be completely honest on your tax return and back it up with meticulous, organized records. Now, as we wrap up, we do need to share a quick disclaimer. The information we've talked about today is for general informational purposes only. It is absolutely not a substitute for professional guidance from a qualified expert who understands your specific situation.
So before you make any decisions, it is crucial that you consult a qualified tax professional. For tailored, expert help with any of the issues we've discussed today or anything else tax-related, you can get in touch with the experts who helped develop this presentation at My Tax Accountant. Their phone number is 0208-570-8531, and the email is info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk. Thank you for your time.